When you visit Tewksbury State Hospital, you're immediately struck by two things: the buildings and the trees. Big, stately trees, some bigger than the buildings themselves, the hospital's very own witness trees. But if you're lucky during your visit, you'll meet a real-life witness, someone who spends his days now teaching people about the history of public health and telling stories about the place that he called home for more than half a century.
My name is Duncan, middle initial T, last name is Hazel. I always use the T to differentiate because a lot of people will say Hazel and I stand up and the mouth drop because I got two first names and last names. So I always use my middle initial, but it's Duncan T. Hazel. I've been here basically my whole life. I grew up on the grounds. This place was my playground. There isn't when I tell people when I go through the museum, when they go through the museum, that there isn't a building here I haven't been on, under, or through. This was my playground, and I worked here. So there's not much that I'm not familiar with. And if it's been done, I probably already did it. So you can't baloney me. That's what I tell people. My father worked here, came in here about 1935. He started out as a chauffeur down in the garage and then transferred into being a truck driver, and he was a truck driver. He also ran the movies here every Thursday at 1 o'clock and at 6 o'clock. That was a big thing for on the grounds, for the patients and for the employees and the kids in the area. My father used to show me what to do. My main job as a kid was rewinding the reels. You have to rewind these things and then put them back in the box. But he showed me how to thread the unit, and these were the old arc type where you had to adjust an arc to get your light. And if you weren't real careful, you could burn a hole through your film. And I think I could still run them. He showed me how to run those. My father died in 1955. I was 14 years old. He died. I can even show you the spot where he died. Working on the farm, being young, I knew when student nurses came in, that was what we called, quote, the new crop. And we had to check out the student nurses first thing. I mean, you had to see what was available. And I happened to spot my wife in the class, and a friend of mine was in the class. And she was supposed to break the ice. I thought she did. I never did. I approached Evelyn, and then it just went on from there.
And how long have you been married?
I was married for 45 years. My wife passed away 3 years ago, November 22nd. So there's, like I said, there's a lot of history here and things that I used to do, and it brings back a lot. It brings back a lot. But it's part of me. It's just part of me, and it's just like it's a natural progression. When people come through here, the first story is they want to know about the ghost. In all my life here, never ran into that. Never heard about ghost stories or anything like that. There was always a reason for everything. And yet I'll have people come in and want to know about this ghost or that ghost. And the paranormal that was going on here, they associate with the cemetery and that. In all my years, never found that.
Not even in the tunnels?
No, that we were the ghost. I remember playing in the tunnels and going in the back in deep corners and making noises when the nurses would come through. Like I said, I probably did it. We had a lot of fun with that. Everything we do here, you have to read. You have to go back, and I've done a lot of reading. And I've learned about when the first public health started in 1869, how it got to that point. Some of the exhibits that we have here, like the nursing, the picture with Linda Richards, there's a whole story that I give out when I do a tour with that. And I try to instill that upon people that come through here. Yeah, we have a surface thing, but there's a lot of stuff you have to kind of dig and go looking into. and it'll lead you in different directions. It's kind of fascinating.
Well, I have many stories dealing with Duncan because as time went on, he ended up being one of my best friends here. And I went like he's a good friend, and I know he's not my father, but I've used him as my father for the last 15 years or so. And I say that all the time to his kids. I know he's your father, but I've been using him as mine for the last 10 years or whatever. I would say he was more of a teacher to us. I was a switchboard operator when I first started here. And he would come in and he would teach all the operators about the fire alarm panel and how to change the ribbon in it and how to read it and how to get the information off of the printout to relay to campus police and the fire department. So he was more of an instructor or a teacher, and that was the capacity we knew him in at the time.
Like I say, if it wasn't for Duncan, I wouldn't be here in this position. Seriously. He taught me how to conduct drills. He assisted and taught me how to read the fire alarm panel. Taught me about extinguishers, how to do safety inspections, what to look for, documentation, stuff like that. So basically everything that I do here is probably contributed to Duncan.
Duncan, fiercely loyal, fiercely dedicated to a fault. He never would go home when he was supposed to. He would never take no for an answer that we didn't want it that way. We'd accept, he wouldn't accept mediocrity. Well, no, that's not how it's supposed to be. And he'd go and he'd try and get it corrected in his own little way, whether it worked or not. But he was right there, and whenever there was an issue, didn't matter. We had fire drills when we became safety officer. He would never go home. We had whatever needed, Duncan was here.
Like I said, I know this place inside now, and I enjoy it. I still do. I miss, even in retirement, I miss the people here. Sometimes I don't miss the bologna doing along with it, but I do miss that atmosphere. And that's basically one of the reasons why I got back into the museum, because it brought me back here.